When the tank rolled over my foot, I didn't scream. That's what I remember most when I think back on all of it. Not the pain, though there was plenty of that. Not the fear, though I felt it. But the silence. How your body can keep going even when your mind is telling you to stop. I was 23 years old, stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado. I was the first female armor officer in my unit. The first woman to lead a platoon of 36 men in the 361 Cavalry Regiment. And I had just done something that no amount of training could prepare me for. I had fallen in love. His name was Brian. He was a soldier, too, in a different unit. We met at a gathering of friends, the kind of casual evening where you don't expect your whole life to change. He made me laugh. He made me think. He made me feel like I could be myself, not the version of myself I had to be every day in uniform. But there was a rule, a hard, fast, unbreakable rule. Officers couldn't fraternize with enlisted soldiers, and Brian was enlisted. I knew the rule when I met him. I knew the rule when I fell for him. I knew the rule when I decided, against every instinct I had, to keep seeing him anyway. And now I was facing the consequences. The tank had rolled over my foot during a training exercise. It was an accident, they said. These things happen, but I knew the truth. I knew that my soldiers were watching me, waiting to see if I would break. I knew that some of them didn't want me there, didn't think a woman belonged in their world. I knew that every mistake I made would be magnified, every weakness exposed, every failure used as proof that I didn't deserve to be there. The tank rolled over my foot. The bones cracked. The pain shot up my leg like fire. And I didn't scream. I didn't even cry. I just kept moving because that's what you do when you're the first. That's what you do when you have something to prove. That's what you do when 36 men are watching, waiting, wondering if you have what it takes. My name is Lee Foodman, and this is the story of how I learned that courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Let me tell you about Redding, Connecticut. If you've never been to a place like Redding, it might be hard to understand. It's the kind of town where everyone knows everyone, where the trees change color in the fall and the snow falls quiet in the winter, where you grow up thinking the world is safe and small and predictable. I was not a predictable child. From the time I was 15 years old, I spent my weekends riding in ambulances. I was a certified emergency medical technician, responding to 911 calls, walking into strangers' homes at their worst moments. I saw things that most teenagers never see: car accidents, heart attacks, overdoses, fires. People ask me why I did it. Why would a 15-year-old girl choose to spend her free time covered in blood and sweat, racing through the streets with sirens wailing? I tell them I loved it. I loved the people. I loved the service. I loved the camaraderie. I loved feeling like I was part of something bigger than myself. I loved being able to help in someone's worst moment, to be the calm voice in the chaos, to hold a hand and say, "You're going to be okay," and mean it. I didn't know it then, but those ambulance rides were preparing me for something else, something I couldn't yet imagine. I knew nothing about the military until high school. It wasn't in my family. It wasn't in my town. It wasn't in my dreams. I was going to be a doctor, maybe, or a teacher, or something safe and normal and predictable. Then someone suggested I visit West Point. I didn't want to go. It sounded cold and hard and far away. But I went anyway, because sometimes you do things you don't want to do and they change your life forever. The second I stepped onto that post, I felt it. I can't explain it any other way. It was like something clicked into place. The discipline, the sense of purpose, the common feeling of service and sacrifice. I looked at those cadets in their uniforms, walking with purpose, carrying themselves with pride, and I thought, if I can do this, I will be able to tackle anything life throws at me. I wanted that challenge. I wanted to be part of something bigger than myself. I wanted to serve my country. So I applied. I got in. And I showed up, 18 years old, scared out of my mind, ready to become someone I didn't yet know. West Point was hard. That's an understatement, but it's the truth. On top of academic classes, you have military duties. Physical education classes, boxing, survival swimming. You're tested constantly, pushed to your limits, broken down and built back up again. In boxing, I remember thinking, I've never been punched in the face before. But that was the point. They tell you that you're there to learn more than how to box or swim. You're there to learn how to take a punch or a wave to the face and keep moving forward. I learned that lesson well. After my first year, I attended airborne school at Fort Benning, Georgia. I jumped from a plane 5 times. At 18 years old, that was a big moment of overcoming fear. Standing at the open door, wind screaming past, nothing but air below you, and the voice in your head saying jump while every cell in your body is saying no. I jumped. I earned my jump wings. I proved to myself that I could do something I never thought I could. And I learned something important. The moments that made me the person I am, the moments I'm most proud of, were not classroom feats like taking a test or writing a paper. They were moments where I proved to myself that I could do something I never thought I could. I adopted a mantra in those years, a phrase I would carry with me through everything that came after. Feel the fear and do it anyway. In 2016, the Army made a decision that would change my life. They opened 2 combat specialties to women for the first time: infantry and armor. Armor officers manage tanks and cavalry operations. They lead reconnaissance missions. They go into combat. They do the work that, for centuries, only men were allowed to do. I was in my final year at West Point when the announcement came. I had a choice to make. I could pick a safe specialty, one where women had always served. Or I could volunteer for something new, something dangerous, something where I would be the first. I was nervous. I won't pretend I wasn't. I thought about what it would mean to be the only woman in a unit of men who might not want me there. I thought about the stares, the whispers, the doubt. I thought about failing and what that failure would mean for the women who came after me. But I also thought about something else. If I don't do this, I will always wonder what it would have been like. I gathered as much information as I could about the job requirements. I spoke with mentors. I engaged in a lot of self-reflection, and eventually, I made my decision. I was not going to let intimidation cause me to miss out on an opportunity that inspired me. I volunteered for armor. After graduating from West Point, I completed the Armor Basic Officer Leader course and the Scout Leader course for Army Reconnaissance. Then I received my assignment. Fort Carson, Colorado, 361 Cavalry Regiment. I would be the very first female armor officer in the unit, the very first female scout platoon leader. I would lead 36 men into combat readiness. I remember the first day I walked into the unit, the stares, the silence, the way conversations stopped when I entered a room and started again when I left. The feeling of being watched constantly, evaluated constantly, judged constantly. I was a little apprehensive, I'll admit. I wanted to show that I could meet and exceed the same standards as the guys. I wanted to show that I was never going to quit. I wanted to earn their respect, not because I demanded it, but because I deserved it. But respect doesn't come easy in a place like that. It has to be earned, day by day, moment by moment, choice by choice. I started by learning everything I could about the job. Technical proficiency, I realized, was key. If I knew my stuff, if I could answer their questions, if I could lead them through training exercises without hesitation or uncertainty, they would have no choice but to respect me. So I studied, I trained, I asked questions, I listened more than I talked, I showed up early and stayed late. I did the work, all of it without complaint. And slowly, gradually, something began to change. I think my soldiers just wanted a leader they could trust. Someone they could respect if we deployed. Someone who could develop a tactical plan that would work. Someone who cared about them, not as tools to be used, but as people to be led. I showed them that I cared. I learned their names. I learned their stories. I learned what motivated them, what scared them, what they wanted out of life. I stood beside them in the mud and the rain and the freezing cold. I shared their burdens. I celebrated their successes. I mourned their losses. And somewhere along the way, they stopped seeing me as the first female armor officer. They started seeing me as their platoon leader. I was proud of that. Not proud of being first, but proud of being able to serve with and lead incredible people. Proud that I had earned their trust. But there was one part of my life that I kept hidden from them. One part that I couldn't share, couldn't reveal, couldn't let them see. Because if they knew, everything I had worked for would be destroyed. His name was Brian. He was smart and funny and kind. He made me laugh when I needed to laugh. He listened when I needed to talk. He saw me, not as the first female armor officer, not as the platoon leader, not as the symbol or the pioneer. He saw me as Lee. We met through friends, a casual gathering, nothing special. But from the first conversation, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Connection, ease, the sense that I could let my guard down just for a moment and be myself. He was enlisted. I was an officer. The rule against fraternization was clear. No romantic relationships between officers and enlisted soldiers. It's designed to maintain good order and discipline, to prevent favoritism, to keep the chain of command clean. I knew the rule. I knew the consequences of breaking it. I knew that if we were discovered, my career would be over. Everything I had worked for, everything I had sacrificed, everything I had proven gone. But the heart doesn't care about rules. We started seeing each other, quietly, carefully, in secret. We told no one. We left no evidence. We met in places where no one would recognize us, at times when no one would be watching. We lived in constant fear of discovery, but we couldn't stay away from each other. For a while it worked. We were careful, we were smart, we were invisible. And then someone found out. I don't know who told. I never found out. But someone saw something, or heard something, or guessed something, and they reported it up the chain of command. The investigation began quietly. Questions asked, rumors spread, eyes watched. I knew it was only a matter of time. The stress of it ate at me. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I went through the motions of my duties, leading my platoon, training my soldiers, pretending everything was normal while my world crumbled around me. And then, during a training exercise, the tank rolled over my foot. It was an accident. The kind of thing that happens when you're not paying attention, when your mind is elsewhere, when you're so consumed by fear and worry that you forget to watch where you're standing. The bones cracked. The pain was blinding. And I didn't scream. I didn't even cry. I just kept moving because that's what you do when you're the first. That's what you do when you have something to prove. That's what you do when 36 men are watching, waiting, wondering if you have what it takes. But the pain was real, the injury was real, and the investigation was real. I was facing career suicide. I went to see my commander. It was the hardest walk of my life. Down the hallway, past the offices, past the soldiers who saluted me, past the people who had no idea what I was about to do. I knocked on his door. He said, "Come in." I sat in the chair across from his desk, and I told him everything. I told him about Brian. I told him about the relationship. I told him that I knew the rules, that I had broken them, that I understood the consequences. He listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't judge. He just listened. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he leaned forward and said something I will never forget. "Lieutenant Foodman, you are one of the best officers I have ever served with. Your soldiers respect you. Your superiors trust you. You have a future in this army. Don't throw it away." He gave me a choice. I could face the full consequences of my actions, court-martial, dismissal, disgrace. Or I could end the relationship, focus on my career, and prove that I was worth keeping. I chose to fight. Ending things with Brian was the hardest thing I've ever done. I loved him. I still love him in some way even now. But I had to choose. My career, my soldiers, my future, or a relationship that could never exist in the light. I chose the path that would keep me in uniform. The investigation closed. No charges were filed. I was given a chance to prove myself, to rebuild trust, to show that I was more than one mistake. And I did. I threw myself back into my work. I led my platoon through more training, more exercises, more challenges. I earned my soldiers' trust all over again. I proved that I deserved to be there. Later, I was assigned as the Armor Branch Proponent Officer. I traveled to West Point and college ROTC programs across the country. I talked to young soldiers, young cadets, young men and women who were considering careers in armor. I told them about the challenges and the rewards. I tried to inspire them the way I had been inspired. I also published several papers, including one on Army recruiting that was selected for the Chief of Staff of the Army's reading list. I wanted to contribute, not just as a soldier, but as a thinker. I wanted to help shape the future of the institution I loved. After 5 years of active duty service, I made another hard choice. I decided to leave the military and pursue a new challenge: law school. Getting out of the Army was intimidating. It was all I had known since I was 17. But I reminded myself of one of my favorite lessons: feel the fear and do it anyway. I applied to Harvard Law School. I got in. And now here I am. I am a student again. It's strange, after all these years, to sit in a classroom instead of a tank, to take notes instead of giving orders, to learn instead of lead. But I carry my Army lessons with me every day. I still volunteer on ambulance calls when I go home to Connecticut. I still feel the rush of helping someone in their worst moment. I still believe in service, in sacrifice, in being part of something bigger than myself. I don't know yet what kind of law I will practice, but I know it will include service to others. I know I will bring what I loved about being an EMT and being an Army officer to being a lawyer. I want to be in a job where I have a direct impact on people and on my community every day. People ask me what I learned from all of it, from being the first, from leading 36 men, from nearly losing everything, from fighting to stay and then choosing to leave. I tell them, fear is not the enemy. Fear is a signal. It's a sign that you're doing something important, something meaningful, something that matters. The goal is not to eliminate fear. The goal is to feel it and do it anyway. I think about that tank rolling over my foot. The pain, the fear, the silence. I think about standing at the open door of that airplane, wind screaming past, every cell in my body saying no. I think about walking into my commander's office, knowing I might never walk out as a soldier again. In every moment, I was afraid. In every moment, I kept moving. I think about the women who came before me, the ones who fought for the right to serve, who broke down barriers, who opened doors that had been closed for centuries. I think about the women who will come after me, who will stand where I stood, who will face their own fears and do it anyway. I was the first female armor officer in my unit, but I won't be the last. That's what matters, not being first, but making sure there are second and third and fourth and fifth. Making sure that the door stays open, that the path stays clear, that the next woman who walks through doesn't have to be the first at everything. I still talk to many of the soldiers I led. They're doing well. Some have moved on, some have stayed in. Some have families now, children, lives outside the uniform. I'm proud of them. I'm honored that I had the opportunity to serve with them, to lead them, to be part of their lives. I loved my soldiers. That's not something you're supposed to say, maybe. It's not in the manuals or the training or the official reports. But it's true. I loved them. I loved their courage and their humor and their dedication. I loved the way they showed up every day, even when it was hard, even when they were tired, even when they didn't want to. I loved being their leader. When I think about courage now, I don't think about the big moments. The jumps from airplanes, the tanks, the investigations, the fear. I think about the small moments. The daily choice to keep going, to keep showing up, to keep being the person your soldiers need you to be. The choice to feel the fear and do it anyway, over and over, every single day. Courage is not a single act. It's a habit. It's a practice. It's a way of living. I learned that in the Army. I learned it in the ambulance. I learned it in the classroom and on the battlefield and in the quiet moments when no one was watching. And I'm still learning it. I'm still afraid. Every day I'm afraid. Afraid of failing, of falling short, of not being good enough. Afraid of letting down the people who believe in me. Afraid of not living up to my own potential. But I've learned that fear is not a stop sign. It's a green light. It's a signal that you're on the right track, that you're pushing yourself, that you're growing. So I keep moving. I keep showing up. I keep feeling the fear and doing it anyway. This is the story of Lee Foodman. I was born in Reading, Connecticut. I was an EMT at 15. I graduated from West Point. I was the first female armor officer in my unit. I led 36 men. I fell in love and nearly lost everything. I chose to fight. I left the army to study law. I am still afraid. I am still moving. I am still here. And on the days when I want to give up, when the fear is too much, when the path seems impossible, I remember the tank rolling over my foot. I remember not screaming. I remember the silence and the pain and the choice to keep going. And I think about the women who will come after me. The ones who will be second and third and fourth. The ones who will never have to be first. The ones who will stand where I stood and go further than I ever could. For them, I will keep moving. For them, I will feel the fear and do it anyway. For them, I will never stop. In memory of every woman who was first. And in hope for every woman who will be next.